Welcome to This Explainer. I'm so glad you're here with us today. We're going to create a warm, safe space right now to untangle a really confusing, kind of hidden, and honestly deeply insidious dynamic in human interaction. We're looking at something known as the gaslighting fallacy. If you've ever felt completely lost in a relationship, a friendship, or even at work, well, you're in the exact right place. We're going to break this down clearly and carefully, using these slides to guide us so you can start to recognize it and, much more importantly, protect yourself. Have you ever walked away from a conversation just wondering, wait, did that really happen? Am I literally losing my mind? Look, I want to validate that internal monologue for you right off the bat. That feeling of being totally unmoored, of doubting your own memory, or questioning your fundamental sanity after a simple conversation, it's overwhelming. It is a profoundly isolating experience. But I want you to know right from the start of this explainer, if you're asking yourself that question, you are absolutely not alone, and there is a very specific reason you're feeling that way. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Defining the Gaslighting Fallacy, or Erasing Your Reality. So to understand why you might feel so unmoored, we need to define exactly what we're dealing with. We're exploring a deliberate pattern here, not just a simple lie. What's really interesting about this fallacy is the precision of its definition. It isn't a mere disagreement. It's a deliberate, repeated effort to deny facts, twist timelines, or completely rewrite the truth. And the ultimate goal? It's to make you question your very own perception of reality. You see, it doesn't happen all at once. It's like a slow, psychological erosion, often disguised as concern for you. They slowly chip away at your confidence in your own mind. Let's look at exactly how this sounds in practice. Which brings us to one of the absolute most common phrases you'll hear in this dynamic. You're imagining things? Notice how direct that is? It's not an argument about the facts of the situation. It is a direct attack on your perception of events. When a manipulator drops this line, they're planting a tiny seed of doubt straight into your cognitive baseline. Because, well, if they can convince you that you're just imagining things, they literally never have to take accountability for what actually happened. And this next quote brilliantly illustrates another layer of the tactic. That's not what I said. You always misremember. Do you see how the blame just shifts there? Manipulators love using this specific phrase to rewrite history in real time. By tacking on "you always misremember," they aren't just defending themselves anymore. They're painting you as someone who is fundamentally unreliable. They make your memory the issue, completely deflecting away from their own actions or hurtful words. Which leads us to this final, pretty devastating tactic. You're too sensitive, no one else sees it that way. This is really where the trap snaps shut. By telling you you're too sensitive and claiming this invisible audience of everyone else agrees with them, the manipulator isolates you. They kind of convince you that you are the problem, just for noticing their toxic behavior. You might even start to believe that if you were just a bit tougher, or maybe a little more understanding, there wouldn't be an issue at all. Moving on to Section 2. Gaslighting in everyday life and recognizing the patterns. Now, this isn't just some theoretical concept. It happens in everyday life, and it absolutely thrives in ambiguity and confusion. The really crucial point here is that this can happen anywhere. On one side, think about a personal relationship. A partner denies saying something hurtful, insisting, "I wouldn't say that, you're making it up." On the flip side, picture a professional environment. A manager tells you, "We never agreed to that deadline." And what's totally wild here is that in the workplace scenario, this denial can happen even when you have clear, undeniable proof, like an email chain. It perfectly shows that this manipulation isn't just confined to romantic relationships. It's a tool used by anyone trying to dodge accountability, regardless of the setting. Okay, let's get into Section 3, your personal protection toolkit and anchoring your reality. Now that we know how to spot it, let's pivot to something super important: empowerment. Because you don't have to just sit there and take this. We've put together a gentle but highly effective 3-step toolkit to help anchor your reality when someone tries to wash it away. Step 1, document quietly. When an event happens, save those texts, screenshot those emails, or just jot down some quick notes in a journal right after the conversation ends. The key here is, you're not doing this to build a case for some massive fight. You're not trying to escalate the situation. You're doing it quietly, just to anchor yourself. So when they tell you it didn't happen 2 days later, you can look at your notes and know for a fact that it did. For step 2, naming it without accusation, I actually want to give you an exact script to use. Just calmly state, "I remember it differently. Can we check what was said?" This is so incredibly powerful. You're not launching into a counter-accusation, you're not yelling, you're a liar, which, let's be honest, would just give them an excuse to call you crazy or overly emotional. Instead, you're calmly and firmly naming the discrepancy. You hold your ground and preserve your reality without taking their bait. And finally, step 3. Honestly, this might be the most vital one of the whole shebang, trusting your gut over their certainty. You know, when someone is gaslighting you, their voice is often incredibly loud, aggressive, and just overwhelmingly certain. So instead of listening to that, pay attention to those uneasy physical feelings in your body. If your stomach is in knots or your chest feels tight, that is your intuition signaling the truth to you. You have to practice ignoring their loud, confident voice in favor of the quiet, steady truth of your own gut. Which brings us to section 4, reclaiming your inner compass, because you are not broken. As we move into the final phase of our explainer today, I really want to focus on healing for a second. Once you recognize the fallacy and have the tools to protect yourself, the next step is reclaiming that inner compass of yours. And I need you to hear this loud and clear. Your truth was temporarily obscured, and that says absolutely everything about them and literally nothing about you. This kind of manipulation is entirely a reflection of the manipulator's desperate need to avoid accountability. It's a mirror showing their flaws, not yours. It doesn't mean your sanity is failing, and it's for sure not a defect in your judgment. You are someone whose reality was attacked, but your compass is still right there, waiting for you to trust it again. But as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. What happens when the manipulator changes their strategy? What happens when they stop denying reality and instead they start demanding absolute perfection from you? Like, how do you respond when someone keeps moving the finish line, telling you that no matter how hard you try, you're still just not good enough? Well, that dynamic, where improvement is really just a trap for endless self-doubt, is exactly what we'll be exploring next time when we dive into the moving goalposts fallacy. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Keep trusting your gut, and I'll see you in the next explainer.